vitamins, painkillers, and permanent pain. You can pitch me your SaaS idea, and in my head, I'm literally categorizing your SaaS idea into one of those three buckets. Why? Because two of these buckets, investors and customers alike absolutely love, and they determine the success of your SaaS business and your startup business. One of these buckets, everyone avoids like the plague. In this episode, I'm gonna walk you through these three buckets, how to figure out which one your SaaS idea falls into, which one you should avoid, and why. We're gonna dig into all of it so that you can actually go after a massively successful SaaS idea and increase your likelihood of success. Intro. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Unstoppable. I'm TK, and on this channel, I help SaaS founders like you grow your SaaS businesses faster with an unstoppable strategy. If you are new to this channel, be sure to hit the subscribe button and that bell icon. That way you'll get notified every single time I drop an episode like this with actionable strategies to grow with the TK energy. If you are already part of this channel, if you're part of my SaaS go-to-market coaching program, my launch program, welcome back. It's really awesome to see you over here. Now, whenever I get pitched on SaaS ideas, I always run myself in my head. I run this algorithm to figure out which of the three buckets that I think about ideas in, which one it falls into. Now, I came across this idea a very long time ago because I had to actually learn what makes for good ideas and bad ideas. But really it came together, this framework that I use now came together after I really took a hard look into the businesses that I was part of that were wildly successful and the businesses that I was part of that never quite took off. And this pattern started to really emerge. And that's how I came across this three buckets of SaaS ideas around vitamins, painkillers, and permanent pain. Now, you've probably already heard maybe somewhere around vitamins and painkillers. I didn't invent it, it's been around for a while, but permanent pain is a special category which we'll get into, which is particularly important to understand for SaaS ideas. So if you're excited to dig into what each of these three are, which ones to avoid, which ones to embrace, and why, go ahead and smash that like button and let's dig into principle number one, bucket number one, vitamins. Okay, so vitamins, let's just really define what this is, right? You may know, you may not know, but let's really define it. Vitamins are things that are nice to have. It's something, it's like your mom nags that you're like, make sure you're taking your vitamins. And you're like, yeah, I totally will. But sometimes you will, sometimes you won't. Maybe you will until you're 40 and your body's slowing down and you're like, I should really get some vitamins, and they're not vitamins anymore, now they're painkillers. But we'll get to that. Vitamins are things that you ought to do. It'd be nice if you did it. If you did it, you would be a better person. But you are so busy that you never quite get to it. This is where most ideas go to die, whether it's a startup idea or a SaaS idea. They go to die because, yeah, it's kind of cool and it revolutionizes how you do something, but it's just not urgent and it's not important for any one of your buyers to actually take a look at, to do a demo, to sign up, to risk their career in adopting a piece of software that may not work, to lose money. So they're just gonna say, that's really cool, but they never quite take action. So that's what vitamins are. But I want to go a little bit deeper. I want to go a level deeper on how do vitamins essentially manifest themselves? Because I've made the mistake of working on vitamins as well. And what I learned was, generally speaking, productivity software, SaaS software that's focused on productivity, can very quickly fall into a vitamin. Here's why. A lot of times I'll get pitched on software companies, and I've worked on ideas where we said, hey, this workflow is really inefficient, and I bet we can improve the productivity of this worker if we just put in some software. And on the onset, it was really great, and maybe the worker kind of liked it, and they were like, oh, this is really cool. But it stopped there. Why? It stopped there because the workflow we were solving, the net incremental productivity we were increasing, didn't deliver enough real value to the business, and therefore no one was willing to pay for it, and no one was willing to take time out of their day to improve on it. It was iterative. It was a slight improvement. And it was one of those things where you're like, it's really cool, but it's just no one cares. Not at scale, not big enough to actually make it a successful SaaS business. And that's where I personally fell into the traps of vitamins, because I was like, this is a clear workflow that needs to be solved. It's inefficient. But ultimately, the business, from the business point of view, it was the manager's point of view, the leader's point of view. They were like, well, we already pay this worker X dollars an hour. The work is getting done fine. It's not our tier 1 workflow. And we're not going to spend more money to make them more productive when they're already getting paid to do that job and we don't make any more money from it. And that's where the traps really lie in vitamins. So as you're thinking about SaaS ideas, on the surface level, it's really easy to think that, oh, this is not a vitamin, this is a clear pain. But if you really dig deeper, you should start to understand, well, is this really an urgent and important workflow that we're solving for? Is this an urgent and important problem that we're solving for? If not, then likely it is a vitamin. And while it may be better for that user, in the grand scheme of things, to the business, it's not going to deliver enough value. It's not important and urgent enough for people to really buy, and you will get stuck down the road. You will get stuck once you go beyond your demo audience, your friends and family, your initial customers. Eventually, it'll just be harder and harder and harder to convince people that this is important. So let's go to principle number 2, because if vitamins are what you should avoid, then painkillers are what you should embrace. And this is something that every smart investor, every customer, everyone is in their head trying to figure out when you are pitching them your software product. They're trying to figure out, is this a vitamin or is this a painkiller? And they may not phrase it this way in their minds, but they're really figuring out, like, do I care? Is this important enough? Is this urgent enough? Is this gonna help me make more money? Is this going to help me reduce risk in some way? Is this going to help me reduce the costs significantly and actually drive savings? These are the kind of things that make for painkillers. Painkillers are the type of things where it helps the business make more money. Painkiller SaaS ideas helps businesses make more money. It's the kind of thing that actually reduces the risk around a business. It says, you know what? If we don't invest in this risk is so high, it's gonna bite us sooner or later. We're better off taking some insurance on the software, and that way we reduce the risk. It's also the type of thing that'll drive significant cost savings. This is where the software comes in and says, look, it costs you 100 people to do this job. This software can get it done with 2 people. That's cost savings. That's urgent and important. And at that point, they will actually treat it like a painkiller. So how do you figure out whether, really between these two, whether you are a vitamin or a painkiller, the SaaS idea that you're working on? Maybe you're in the early stages of it, maybe you're scoping it out. Well, really, what you need to ask yourself is ultimately, if you're creating business software, which is what I really focus on, are you actually going to help them grow faster? Are you going to help them reduce their cost significantly, savings, or are you going to help them reduce risk significantly? If you're one of those 3 things, then chances are you are a painkiller. It is something that literally, it's one of those things where you're in the middle of a snowstorm and no one wants to be outside, but you're in such severe pain, you're gonna bundle up, you're gonna go out there, you're gonna find the medicine, and you're gonna actually alleviate the pain. It's top of mind, keeps you up at night, you're thinking about it, you're losing money because of it, you're worried about the future of your company because of it. That's what a painkiller is, right? That's super, super powerful. Now, just by these 2 things, let me just pause here before I go to permanent pain. I wanna talk about permanent pain because you gotta know about it. Just by these 2, you will dramatically reduce your chance of failure or going after the wrong idea, going after an altruistically true idea that maybe should exist, but is just not important, urgent enough, not a painkiller. Just by doing these 2 things and stress testing your idea on these 2 things, you're gonna be farther along. If you're starting to see the power on that, can I just get a yes in the comments below? Also smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm. It really likes it when you do that. Also, if you're in the stages where you really want to vet out your SaaS idea and your SaaS business, you're in the early stages of it, right? You should totally check out my 10-point SaaS business checklist. Inside of that, I'm going to ask you some more questions you can ask yourself to really stress test your idea. It's completely free. I'll tell you about it at the end of this video. But let's go to principle number 3, which is permanent pain. Now, I've been in SaaS long enough. I've been in the SaaS industry for 15 years. That sounds crazy, but I graduated college in 2006. And so 2005 is when I started my first SaaS business with my co-founders. We were online calendaring software. We got bought by a company called Plaxo. Plaxo was a SaaS business. And then I started ToutUp in 2011. That was a SaaS business, worked at Marketo because Marketo bought ToutUp. So I've been in SaaS for a while, basically is what I'm trying to tell you. And the numbers really do add up, even though I look 15. I know I know. I know. What I've started to notice are some patterns. I look at some of the best companies that I've been part of. I've been part of ToutApp. I've been part of Marketo. I've been part of Plaxo. Just those three, you start to think about like, well, what are the patterns around them? And what I started to realize was there's vitamins, which are just people are just like nice to have, right? People aren't really gonna go out in the snowstorm for it. It's not important and urgent. There's painkillers where there's a real pain and people are willing to invest in it right now. And then there's permanent pain. And permanent pain are the best ideas. And every single SaaS business that has been successful, that I've been part of, that I've been fortunate enough to be part of, yeah, the team was talented. Yeah, the product was great. Yeah, we worked really hard, but we were fortunate enough to solve permanent pain. And permanent pain is a type of pain that has existed forever and will exist till the end of time. Permanent pain, an example of that is growth. Every business wants to grow. Every business wants to grow. And that is a permanent pain. So if you're orienting your product around driving growth for a SaaS business or your ideal customer's business, whatever it is, then it's permanent pain. You call up a CEO and say, hey, do you want to grow faster? They will always lend an ear and say, okay, what do you got? Because it's a permanent pain. No matter how much you're killing it, they will always look for more. Another example of permanent pain is reducing risk. There's always risk around a business because of new regulations that are coming around, because of employees. It's messy. Businesses are messy. So there's always going to be permanent pain. There's always going to be need for lawyers, for example, right? There's always going to be a need for insurance. That's permanent pain. So one way you can really, really challenge yourself to strengthen your idea is to ask yourself, is this a temporary painkiller or is this going to be a permanent pain? Meaning this pain, if we figure out how to solve for this, then it's going to get better and better and better and better for us because this pain is always going to exist. And every single person in our ICP is always going to have this pain and we're going to figure out a way to solve it for them over and over. And the minute they take us away, the pain's going to come back, right? That pain is not going away. It's not getting cured. And that's the power of a SaaS business, right? What you want is you're solving an important, urgent problem. And what you also want is that important, urgent problem exists till the end of time, so they keep needing you, so you have the recurring revenue, and they keep spending more with you. And that's the idea of permanent pain. And if you can get out there into your specific target market, whichever target market you're serving, and you start to identify the important, urgent problems that are permanent, they're always going to be there. Businesses are always going to need growth. They're always going to need more pipeline. They're always going to need more leads. They're always going to need a way to make sure customers are happy. If you start to identify the permanent pains and you start to orient yourself around solving for that so that forever you will solve that problem because you're going to have that problem forever and never go away, then you're really going to be successful. So as you're thinking about your SaaS ideas, number one, are you in the vitamin space? Get out of it. Avoid it like the plague because investors and customers alike do the same. Number two, how do you get into the painkiller category? How do you actually solve a real pain that's important and urgent? Remember, the three that I always look for, is it increasing, it helps you make more money? Does it reduce the risk? Or does it drive significant cost savings? Those are the three that matter the most to get into painkiller category. And then ask yourself, is this permanent pain? This is the type of pain that's always going to be a problem. And if you solve for it, you're always going to have their business. That's the power of being discerning about your SaaS ideas and your startup ideas right in the beginning. Because this is the exact math that goes through investors and customers on whether they want to spend their time to take a meeting or start a free demo or even take an investment call. This is what goes through their head. And if you do this preemptively, you'll hopefully save months, if not years, from building the wrong product and going after the wrong idea. Now, if you're in that stage where you're really stress testing your idea, if you already have an idea in a product and a business, but it's not quite going right and you really want to dig into, well, like, do I have this right? You want to stress test idea around these three categories. You want to dig into it more, then I invite you to check out my 10-point SaaS business checklist. Inside of this, I walk you through the 10 questions you should ask to stress test your business, to stress test your SaaS business and really flesh out not only just which category you're on, but really think through like, hey, are we in the right market? Is this a good market to be in? Are we oriented in the right way? Are we focused on the right things? Super important. So if you want a free copy of that, it's completely free. Just go to tkkader.com/SaaS-checklist. tkkader.com/SaaS-checklist. It's completely free. I'll also link to it below so you can check it out. And inside of it, I'll walk you through the 10 questions you also need to go through to stress test your business and figure out if your idea is any good or not. Also, if you got value from this video, be sure to smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm. It really likes it when you do that. I drop a video like this 2 to 3 times a week, so be sure to hit the subscribe button and that bell icon, that way you'll get notified. If you have a fellow founder or a team member that would get value from this video, please share it with them as well. It would just mean the world to us. We put a lot of love into these videos. And lastly, remember, everyone needs a strategy for their life and their business. When you are with us, yours is gonna be unstoppable. I'm TK, and I'll see you in the next episode.